Our base play out of this bunch empty wing package was sweep. Buck sweep or jet sweep, and it depended on who we were playing or what defense they were running or whatever. So I'm going to teach it first with the buck sweep. So if we're running buck sweep out of our basic bunch empty set, and we're getting an even front. Okay, we start there. So we're getting maybe a shade and a 5 and a 3 and a 5 and something like this. Now, we likely would not get this defense, just to be honest, because of the vertical game, but we might would. You know, I'm going to try to draw this stuff as realistic as possible and give you the worst case scenarios of sort so you understand. But this would be, you know, an 8-man box, something we're going to see if a team's trying to stop the run, whatever. So if we're running buck sweep, the wing back has the toughest block, basically. They have to block down, and that can be really tough, and you have to work that. And just like any wing T team that's running sweep, that's a tough block. Some guys are better at it than others, but you got to give them some things to help them, and we can talk about that later. The tackle's going to block down all the way to the center. If that guy was a shade, you go all the way down. The Y, in this case on buck, is going to seal this backer. We're going to arc to the corner, kick this guy, block back, wrap, preferably to the backside backer or the safety in the alley or whoever. And over here, we're going to peek. So basically, you can do two different things on the backside. You can either lock on and block here, read him, and throw the pop pass off of it, where the quarterback just throws the pop or he hands it off on the sweep. Or if you got a running quarterback you like more than your X, you may want to arc him out here and read him for a give or a pull. So I really like either of those plays. But regardless of which one you do, whether this guy runs the pop or we arc over here and block, I guess you could do both if you're a team that does this a lot, but if you're just mixing this in, I'd probably pick one. But regardless of which one you pick, this wing is going to come in motion. Drop step, one step. This is probably the thing that people have asked me the most about this that try to do it. You know, we're having a hard time catching a guard and cutting in, and the play's bouncing wide. You know, guys. A lot of times the reason is the guy getting the football does not have his shoulders completely parallel to the line of scrimmage. So these guys can't go back here and kind of do a banana and try to get downhill. It doesn't work like that. If they need to cheat back, they got to cheat back. That's fine. Take one drop step and run through the front of the quarterback. You know, just a big drop step, you know, one drop step and run in front of the quarterback. If they got to back up a little bit to do that, then I guess they do. Or you might want to move your quarterback up a little if you're doing a lot of this. You can do several different things. But it is not going to work the way the traditional buck sweep works if you're getting the ball facing this direction. You've got to get it right there. So, this guy's going to drop step, run in front of the quarterback. Quarterback receives the ball. He just catches, puts it straight down, and he's going to read, whether he's reading to throw or he's reading to hand off, either one. He's going to catch, get his eyes to whichever one that you've got him doing there. Let's say he hands it off, because the throws and the other stuff's pretty easy. He hands it off. This guy gets the football. He's looking at the front guard. He's going to try to kick. Ideally, we get a kick. If for some reason this guy comes hard inside, we'll log him and run it wider. But this guy's going to try to kick. He's going to run, get a kick. When he sees that kick and reads that guard, he's going to turn and catch this guard. Catch the guard. Just like, guys, if I put a circle right here, this would be under center buck sweep back in the day. But we got this extra guy out there as a receiver, so it's like the fullback's handing it to him. It should be the same technique. So if you run some buck sweep in the past, all that should have just bored you, what I just said. But if you hadn't, I wanted to say it all. So that's the base premise of the play. Now, what caused this in this particular defense? What would they do differently? Well, what if we got the shade here and the 3 back here? Then we just flatten these 2 down blocks. That's not a major problem. What if this guy's really, really tough to block? We're going to get to that, but it's in the next lesson. We're going to assume that we can handle these guys, and that's why we called this base play, that we're so good at this that we're going to be able to do it. So we're not going to ask this running back to destroy the defensive end. But unless that defensive end is a Division I football player and we just can't block him, we should be able to get in the way, run our feet, be physical. And we just expected our guys to be able to be okay at that, at least okay where we could go. And we were going to read them a lot in the complements plays, which we'll talk about in the next lesson. So that's our buck sweep. Now, if we want to run it out of odd front, nothing really different. But a lot of times, if we got an odd, we can do buck or jet. I didn't love the jet as much to an even, but we did it occasionally. And of course, we were ready because they can always move or whatever. But if we got guys we could reach, so now we got something like this, which truthfully we saw the absolute most. This is what we saw the most. You say, well, why didn't you see the other thing? Well, we tried to be pretty balanced about running it back this way too. So keep in mind, I just drew up that buck sweep to the bunch because this is a bunch package thing. But if we're running buck sweep here, we're going down, down, kick, block on, wrap. Hand, this guy's coming one step, getting the football, catching the guard. And now we got the pop pass over here, the keep over here. So we would actually run this guy straight and come underneath and try to throw the pop pass there in that look. Or you could arc these guys and let the quarterback keep it. Either one. Really good sets either way. But we were going to run jet and buck both ways. So if we're running it both ways, we almost always had these 2 safeties. And they tightened down a little bit, but we were going to throw verticals and we were going to run both ways. So people just played us kind of far across a lot. So this is what we saw. Now, you might see something different. I'm not at your school, so I really don't know. But we were going to see that a lot. So I'm going to draw it up like what we saw. But if we got an odd like that, I really liked running the jet series. Because what we would do now, the sweep look is kind of similar. It looks a lot alike to the defense, but we're blocking a little different. Now we're blocking on, if we're running this way. We're blocking on all 3 of these looks. We're pulling into the alleys to get the trash over here, and we're getting like a double team right here. Basically, we want to catch these guys here and drop motion, go. Same concept. We could throw the pop or we could arc there and read them. That's not any different than buck or jet, the backside. This is not any different on how you receive the football. What's different is now we're going to try to run this wide until we can't. So if we're getting whipped out here, we're going to get underneath and back out. It's okay to run this light buck, but you don't have to. You can bang or bounce. We want to really bounce and then bang if we have to. Whereas on buck sweep, we really want to bang, bounce if we have to. So that was where we taught the backs a little different on what to do there. The line blocks it a little different. But from the standpoint of this guy just watching in the backfield, it's going to look very similar. What gives this play problems out of here? Well, the easiest thing that gives us problems is somebody getting their butt whipped. We don't have any plays for anybody getting their butt whipped. So I'm not even going to talk about that. I mean, obviously, if this guy can't block him, then we don't have enough time to talk about all the techniques somebody could use. But trust me, that we just got to go into the complements, which are coming in the next lesson. The nose slanting strong in this case is a real problem. It's hard to reach that nose if he slants strong. We got a complement for that in the next lesson. I promise I'll get to all that stuff. But I just want you to show it. What about this safety coming down the alley? Hard when he's... We got something for that too in the complements. But make them do that, guys. The way that people lose football games on offense is they don't make them stop the base play without cheating. Like, guys, if they don't have to cheat, if this safety doesn't have to run hard, if this guy doesn't have to slant hard, and they're still stopping you, you're not going to win. If this is your main play, you put a lot of effort and energy and sweat equity into. So make sure that you're able to run these plays against the regular look. And then when they have to do something, there you go. Now, I really like both those sweeps. I mean, they were really good. And what it allowed you to do was do it both ways. So now, if we wanted to come out in this exact same look and run back the other way, we totally could. And one of my favorite moves was to play, where's the bad guy? And by bad guy, I don't mean good. You know, so if they're here, if they're in this look, you really should probably run strong on the sweep. We're talking a little bit right now so you understand about what the defense is doing and what side's better than what, okay? Just sweeps. So we're going to run the sweep, one flank or the other. Which one's better? Okay, well, this is a balanced defense, so conventional wisdom would tell you it's better to run strong. But there's a reason they balanced out. It's very likely they balanced out so they could slant this way. In doing that, you may be better running weak. So if you notice slanting, you better running weak. But more importantly, sometimes than even trying to outsmart the defense, is to play the game of where's the bad kid? Which outside linebacker is better than the other one? Which defensive end is better than the other one? I'm just telling you guys, we won a lot of football games and people watched the games and we scored a lot of points and they probably thought we had this like dynamic system of things. We had like a few plays and we pretty much spent most of our scouting time focused on where the bad guys were. And we knew we needed to run at number so-and-so. And because we had these two running backs and we could run jet sweep right and jet sweep left and buck sweep right and buck sweep left without moving anybody, it became something where it was really easy to just hard count them or something and say, all right, number 9's on the left, let's run left. Number 12's over there, whoever we wanted to run at. I mean, I'm trying to pick on anybody, but that, players win the game, guys. So if we got in this look and the bad guy's right there and they're probably slanting strong, we want to run jet, we're just going to block on, block on, block on. They probably slanted that way, made it easy for us. Pull these guys in the alley, try to catch the backers with them or the safety, cut off there, drop step, get the ball, bounce it if you can. If this guy's setting the edge right there where you can't bounce it, you duck underneath him, get back out. He's got a stalk. So we can run this back away from the bunch, guys. I'm not an advocate in this course of just running to the bunch. I think getting in the bunch makes the defense have to change their flank. It makes the defense have to change their coverage, makes them worry about stuff, makes them think. And then you get in a situation where all the other stuff's okay too. I tell you what else is great about the bunch and the sweeps is the hash is not as important. The hash can be your friend. Whereas something I've seen, and anybody that's seen and done any of my stuff before knows this, that I'm a huge proponent of being realistic and practicing games. And anything you're doing, if we're drawing up on the board, I want to be realistic. I want to put the ball on the hash because it's going to spend most of the game on the hash. Bunch was the only series that I really didn't care. I mean, I thought about it. It was important. I wanted to use it to my advantage when I could. But we could put the bunch into the boundary. We could put the bunch into the field. It didn't matter if we're in the middle of the field, right hash, left hash. Because of the bunch, we probably could bounce or bang either side. So, but when you're right here, and you're right here, and you got these three guys all up into the boundary, and this guy's out here on this other hash, maybe or wider. Boy, that pop pass looks a lot better out there. You get a guy here, here, maybe safety here, and this safety's rolled over or something. You get a corner there, and you'll get that if you can run the ball. You just throw this pop pass to the grass, you got something. Maybe they put their strength to the field, and they always put their strength to the field. Now you got a way to run the sweep here into the boundary and have good numbers. You don't like that? Maybe you can put it on the other side. Put it over here. Where the bunch is here, and you're kind of bunched up right here on the boundary, you can run into the boundary some still, but now you got all this grass if you want to throw out there. You got all this grass if you want to move the X receiver out here and make them defend the whole field that way. So think about that when you're thinking of these sweeps, and this is still in the context of sweep. You want to run the flank right and left out of out of any formation, be able to run it right, be able to run it left, to the bunch, away from the bunch, whatever it is, and be able to get numbers either way. Sometimes Jet's a little better than Buck, sometimes Buck's a little better than Jet. Tried to tell you as many of the things that came to mind about why that would be, but sometimes, truth be told, it just works better. For whatever reason, that team does a better job on buck sweep. They don't do as good when we don't block down and pull the guards. Some teams do a lot better, or we're a lot better when we block down and pull the guards. I mean, sometimes it was just a feel. But generally speaking, the odd fronts were much easier to block on, obviously, than the even. So if we did, last thing I guess on this, and we'll move on, if we did call Jet to an even front, I guess I need to add this in. If they got in an even, so something like this, and we called Jet right or left, I guess it wouldn't matter. Now, reaching, he's got to reach, and they can block, he can still pull, he can block his area, and now we're just one guy pulling. Drop, step, go. So now it's just more like stretch, and we bang it if we have to. That's not, be honest with you, that's not a great setup. But if they got a shade, it's not as bad. If they got a shade in a 3, now we can block back and pull him and try to run it that way. But regardless, if you thought you could reach the shade, you could reach there and pull in. But a lot of times for us, we were going to run buck when we got the even. We like the angles of the shade and the 3 there. Just get them down, make it work. And but you did have to be prepared if you called Jet and they slid into a different look or something like that. No big deal. We run it and go. I liked it better to the weak side with the even front, to be honest. But either way, that's as much as I could think to tell you about buck sweep and jet sweep out of our bunch empty package. It's a really, really good package, and it's a good look to have that backside. Don't forget about that backside pop pass or that pull by the quarterback. That can be really deadly, especially even away from the bunch. Away from the bunch too, you know, don't forget about that. You need to have a plan for your one receiver pop back there, but also when this guy comes in motion, what can you do over here to get this guy in the alley, or do you want to run him there? You want to run the quarterback sweep where these guys block. We leave the end alone, pull the tackle out. You got 3 blockers. The quarterback pulls it if he gets a down read by the end. Any of those is good. Have a plan for that backside and use the backside. It will make the play so much better. And then you need to really, really be good at just the regular play. When they hand it off, that needs to be your base play. I mean, this is what we taught our guys from kindergarten all the way up to, middle school, JV, 9th grade, whatever. They were running buck sweep. They were going to be able to run the sweep. And then we taught them the complements gradually as they got older. So we would do that out of several sets, but truthfully, this bunch set was one of the best ones. It really was. Just gave us great angles to seal and take care of the backer and go. So hopefully that was helpful if you're interested in that. But most importantly, probably for what many of you will be interested in, you had to understand that to get to the next lesson, which is talking about the sweep complements. See, once we run this buck sweep and get good at it and people worry about it, they try to cheat or somebody's really good. And we try to have a play for everything. So next lesson, we're going to talk about what are we going to do if the D end is a problem? What are we going to do if the defensive tackle is a problem? What are we going to do if the linebacker is a problem? What are we going to do if the DBs are causing problems with the base play? So who stopped the sweep and what can we call next off of that? So that's what the next lesson will be. I hope you enjoy it.